I'll shift the feed real quick. All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM Rakapadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit of the Rakapadash. And this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 15. In verse 3, and it reads, it says, the eyes of the Lord, YAHAWASHI, are in every place, beholding the evil and the good.
Here is a real issue from a religious point of view, and I don't want to get into religion.
Okay.
But let me explain something. What happens if these people that we all know exist, these critters, these graves, whatever you call them, what if they're not subject to original sin? And this is what the Vatican talks about. The Vatican's been talking about this forever. What if these are, in fact, the Vatican's called them angels? What if these are, in fact, the Vatican's called them angels? What if these are, in fact, the Vatican's called them angels? What if these are truly God's chosen people? What if these are truly God's chosen people?
Pop culture today is going to represent these UFO events, for want of a better word, as something quite different than how the people experience them.
Wow, look at this here, these three things.
Oh, really?
What is it? Remember, I'm a historian of Catholicism. So in the 1980s, Pope John Paul II wrote a very interesting teaching on the angels to his bishops. It's called the Catechesis on the Angels. And he basically says, these are invisible beings, and people don't believe in them anymore, and they even denied them during Jesus's time, Jesus's era. He said, but they exist. And he said, and they intervene in human history. He was kind of reinscribing this idea that what we see today is not what we think we're seeing. Our perceptions see objects, but what are really there?
What would it mean for our humanity for us to discover that, in fact, there are other sentient beings that are capable of traveling here?
But we're at a place right now where we are beginning to realize how strange it is and how little we really understand. Imagine if it was acknowledged officially that UFOs exist. That would be a big paradigm shift.
All right, here we go. Let's pull this up. All right, so this article here is from internewscast.com, right? So it says, J.D. Vance suggests UFOs and aliens may be spiritual forces. Check that out. You think they don't know? All right, they know exactly what this is. All right. J.D. Vance suggests UFOs and aliens may be spiritual forces. The vice president commits to unveiling sky mysteries. Okay, so as we all know, as well as these devils, all right, they know that YAHAWASHI and the angels exist. All right, they're watching everything. All right. Again, James 2:19, thou believest that there is one power or one God. Thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. All right. The devils also believe and tremble. All right. And I always make reference about this article that came out back in 2018 and 19. So when we talk about these devils, they know what's going on. They're watching everything. This is the point that I'm making. Right. So this is from 2019. It says Bill Gates backs Earth Now, a live surveillance project for the entire planet. So when you look into it, he has over like, I want to say 2,000 or so or more satellites in orbit all around the Earth. Okay. So they're watching the Earth in live surveillance, real time. Okay. And they're seeing all of the, the videos of the chariots, man, with the world England calls UFOs, UAPs. This whole ordeal with the three-eye atlas. All right. They're seeing these huge, fatherships, navigating the heavens. They're seeing things on Earth happen that can't be explained. All right. So again, they know what's up. Okay. They don't just make these statements for no reason, going back to the article here. Right. He just didn't say this to say it, that these so-called UFOs and aliens may be spiritual forces. Right. So it says, and we're going to play a little clip of when he made this statement here. All right, but this is it says Vice President J.D. Vance recently offered his perspective on UFO mysteries, proposing that some inexplicable occurrences might be attributed to, quote, spiritual forces interacting with our physical realm, right? And the Lord of Sabaoth. During a conversation on Pod Force One with the New York Post columnist Miranda Devine, Vance acknowledged his current lack of deep exploration into the topic, but expressed a strong determination to investigate further. He said, quote, "I can't let myself get too caught up in my duties to overlook this. I am committed to uncovering the truth," Vance emphasized. All right, so let's just play that part of the clip from the interview in this podcast. Right, let's pull it up. It's about 5 days ago. Podcast Force One with Miranda Devine. All right, I wept at Jesus' tomb. Trump's 2028 dream ticket with, quote, best friend Rubio and UFO mysteries. So I just want to go to the point. It's like at 55 minutes. All right, where he made the statement. Bear with me.
Just sort of discuss that with our kids, because you can't force adversity on your children, but you can try to give them a different perspective, and that's what I try to do. But yeah, I worry about that all the time because Clarence Thomas made this point to me once. He's a great man, had a much rougher childhood than I did. He once told me that.
Let me jump up a little bit, Slakia. There we go.
I grew up gave me great perspective, and hopefully my kids can benefit from that.
One last question about UFOs. So I'm a mad UFO lunatic
Me
as
too.
well.
Yeah.
So, and you said, I think the Ruthless podcast, that you were going to, in August, you were going to figure out what happened. So have you
That was a little
managed?
tongue in cheek. I have not figured it out yet. I haven't had the time to figure it out yet.
But you've got access to all this.
I do. And I really want to sort of dig into it. Marco's actually very interested in this too. We talked about this talked about this back in our Senate days. So yeah, there's certainly an interest there. There's certainly an intrigue, but I haven't yet had the time to really dig in. Things have been so busy, but this is the crazy person inside of me. And there's, all of us put the tinfoil hat on from time to time. I was like, I can't allow myself to become so busy that I spend the next 3 years and I don't get to the bottom of this. So I will get to the bottom of this, but it's going to take me a little time.
Because Tulsi Gabbard says that she believes there are aliens. Do you believe that?
I don't, it's interesting. I wouldn't say that I do or don't believe it. I mean, I'm a big believer that there are things out there that we can't explain. And so if another person sees an alien, maybe I see an angel or a demon. So I'm a big believer that there are spiritual forces working on the physical world that a lot of us don't see and a lot of us don't understand and a lot of us don't appreciate. But, is it aliens, or is it our guardian angel, or is it aliens, or is it a not so guardian force that doesn't care about us, or in fact, actively wishes us harm? I don't know the answer to that question. What I try to
No, they know the answer. But they have to he has to say these things, but they know that this is a force that's not with them. They know that YAHAWASHI and angels are here. They know what's getting ready to happen. They're preparing, to fight against the Lord. Revelation, the 12th chapter. I had heard something online that a lot of this government shutdown and things like that is really to not, really get into this. All right. But they know what's up and they're preparing for it. Right. Let's play that part again. All right.
An angel, or is it aliens, or is it a not so guardian force that doesn't care about us, or in fact actively wishes us harm? I don't know the answer to that question. What I try to do is I try to say my prayers. I try to be as good of a person as I can be, and I try to do a good job. And hopefully that's all I need to do.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Vice President.
There you go. So they know what it is. All right. All governments around the planet are watching. All right. So anyway, just to wrap this up, let's grab all right, this is Psalm 104 and verse 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariots, his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. All right, so this is what they're watching on these satellites, man, all over the planet. They're seeing the miraculous wonders of the angels. All right, things that are going on in the heavens and in the ocean. All right, how they can't be explained, how these so-called UFO UAPs defy the laws of gravity. Everything, all these different testimonies, these declassified, testimonies on the stand, which these whistleblowers and government agents have been, putting out there. All right. It says, verse 4, who maketh his angels spirits and his ministers flaming fire. All right. It says, who maketh his angels spirits. All right. They were speaking about in the beginning, in the video that I put together, going into invisible angels, that can't be seen. She was talking about the Vatican has been, keeping this information disclosed for a long time. All right. But again, the so-called elitists, or what you would label or consider as elites. Okay. How's it go? Isaiah 13, the gates of the nobles. Okay, the people who have power in this world, they know exactly who these so-called alien forces are. All right, it's no longer a secret. All right, so I just wanted to do this quick lesson as another faith booster type lesson. Okay, they all the world powers know, and they're in fear. Okay, it says this is Psalm 103. And 20, bless the Lord, YAHAWASHI, ye his angels that excel in strength, that do his commandments, hearkening to the voice of his word. So again, the angels of YAHAWASHI are in order. All right. Hearkening unto the voice of his word. All right. They do what they're commanded. Lord said he created, how's it go? Sirach 39, the 28 spirits that were created for vengeance, man. Okay. These are those forces. 2 Kings, right? 2 Kings in verse 8, the Arameans plot to capture Elisha. 2 Kings 6 and 8, it says, then the king of Assyria warred against Israel and took counsel with his servants, saying, in such a place shall be my camp. And the men of the Most High sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of the Most High told him and warned him of, and saved himself there not once nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was sore trouble for this thing. And he called his servants and said unto them, will you not show me which of us is the king, which is us, which of us is for the king of Israel? Verse 12. And one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king, but Elisha the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. And he said, go and spy where he is at, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. Verse 14, therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, meaning a great army, right? And they came by night and compassed the city about. Verse 15, and when the servant of the men of the Most High was risen early and gone forth, behold, and hosts compassed the city both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. See that? And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, YAHAWASHI, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And Lord, YAHAWASHI, opened his eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. All right. So again, there's the point of me reading this is that there are invisible spiritual armies, right, that are fighting for the righteous that can't be seen with the human eye. Right? These are those like JD Vance said, these are those spiritual forces that all governments around the world know about, man, that are preparing to fight. All right. This is why all this information and the like I said, the declassified information that's being brought out, because again, the evidence is undeniable. It's too overwhelming for them to not speak on this. So eventually, as we are in that time now, all right, they can't hold this stuff back no more. All right, the Lord is making his presence known amongst the heathen. All right. Psalms 34 and verse 7. I started at verse 6. Psalms 34, verse 6. This poor man cried, and the Lord, YAHAWASHI, heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. Verse 7. The angel of the Lord, YAHAWASHI, encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. All right. So the believers, you know, the sincere, you know, you have angels that are covering you, and those angelic forces are here. And this is what they're watching on a daily basis all over the earth, you know? So I thought this was pretty heavy. I just wanted to chime in briefly on that this part of the article or this interview that we just watched, all right, where he had made mention of that. All right, but again, they all know there's no way around it. And again, you know, they're watching everything that's playing out on the planet Earth and in the heavens, you know? So they're preparing. So I pray that this quick lesson was edifying, man. It's getting ready to go down sooner or later. All right, we're very close to things happening. We're getting ready to see a lot of spiritual things in these last days, you know. Shalom.